So if you've been following this channel for the past year, I did some videos that kind of led up to the release information about the Switch 2, and there was a whole bunch of information that sort of leaked out before the official announcement. And one of the functionalities that leaked out was that mouse support. There was an optical sensor that was discovered to be in the Switch 2 Joy-Cons. And at the time, I speculated that we could see all kinds of accessories come out for the Switch 2 Joy-Cons with this mouse sensor. Well, it looks like one of the ideas that I had may actually be coming true. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Now, when we found out that there was going to be an optical sensor inside of the Switch 2 Joy-Cons, obviously the first thing people thought of is mouse support, which we found out, yes, that did happen. But then I thought you could do some other types of things with this optical sensor aside from just detecting that the Joy-Con is moving across a surface. Well, one of the things that I thought maybe could come out of this is some type of reeling motion. So if you had something sort of reeling and a plate that kind of passes across that optical sensor, you would be able to detect if someone is like reeling a fish in, or you could have some other type of functionality. Well, today there was this patent that I found for Nintendo that seems to do just that. And you can see that here in this patent W02025163860. In case you want to look it up, I will have a link to this patent over on Patent Scope down in the description. And in the abstract for the patent, it says the mouse operation sensor detects movement of the top surface with respect to an opposing tracking surface through the first opening. The peripheral equipment comprises a recess into which the protrusion is detachably fitted. This is how it's worded. A tracking unit in which movement is detected by the mouse operation sensor of the input device attached to the peripheral equipment, and an operation unit that moves the tracking unit due to be operated by a user. And this just seems to be a long-winded technical way to say a user moves a surface across the mouse sensor and the mouse sensor detects it. So what does this look like? Well, we'll start here with figure 12, and you can see you have sort of a reel attached to that piece that would hold the Joy-Con straps. And you can see that that reel part would be lined right over top of where the mouse optical sensor is. And we'll take a look here at figure 13. You can see this is sort of a side cut view, and that optical sensor would be where the 807 indicator is, which means that optical sensor is not placed directly in the center of the Joy-Con 2 controllers. You can see that here from that original release video information about the Switch 2. And I do have to believe Nintendo sort of did this on purpose. By not centering that optical sensor, they would be able to attach things and detect sort of a rotating motion. And here you can see in figure 14 with this mechanism attached to the left Joy-Con. And then I want to skip down to figure 17 just to show you how this reel attaches to the Joy-Con 2 controllers. And you can even see on the bottom at the top of the Joy-Con here that release button. So this is for the Joy-Con 2 controllers and not the original Joy-Cons, although I don't know how the original Joy-Cons would detect a moving motion like this since they don't have any optical sensor in them. And then I thought figure 21 was kind of neat here because it kind of shows the gearing that's being done here in order to move that plate across the optical sensor. And what's interesting about this picture is that this is the right Joy-Con and not the left one. So it does look like they plan to make this available to work with either Joy-Con. Now, I'm not sure if it'd be two different attachments or maybe there's a way that it flips around and connects to the right Joy-Con. So it might be you can get just this one attachment. It can connect to either Joy-Con because that reel is going to be in the center, and then it just moves the plate on two different sides. So definitely an interesting patent here by Nintendo, and the first thought that came to my mind is we can bring back SEGA Bass Fishing. Since the Joy-Con 2 controllers already have gyro in them, you could actually just move the device around and it would detect sort of where your rod is pointing. And then if the controller sort of vibrates that you've got a fish nibbling, you'd be able to jerk it back real quick and set that hook. But then I also wanted to think, what other type of uses would this have? Well, one thing I thought of is you could have some type of crane game where you move a crane around and you try to grab things off of the ground and lift them up with the reel. And then who remembers the Playdate Now this was a small handheld game system that had a reel on the side of it. And no, I don't think Nintendo's going to bring Playdate games to Nintendo Switch Online, but any type of game that used that functionality would work here as well. No, I've not actually played with a Playdate. I've watched some of the videos of people playing various games on it, and it seemed like the reel wasn't always a big part of the game, but let me know if there's any games on there that you think have a unique feature that could be brought to the Switch 2 with this reel attachment. Some other type of mini games I could think of is perhaps you might have like a Mario Party game that could use this. You might have something where you have to like wind up a clock or see who can wind the fastest. Or maybe you have to wind up a toy in order to get it to move. Another functionality I happen to think of is that you could have a Gatling gun in a game and you crank that reel around in order to shoot, and then you can aim around the screen with the Joy-Con 2 controller's gyros functionality. So there's definitely a lot of possibilities of things here that developers can use this reel for. I mean, as I mentioned earlier, the obvious game would be doing some type of fishing game, and I could see Nintendo sneaking this type of functionality into the next Legend of Zelda game, because we usually have some type of fishing in a lot of those, and perhaps they could just bring it into an Ocarina of Time remake. But let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Do you have any other kind of ideas that you could see this reel being used for? And perhaps if there's any classic fishing games that were on, say, the Nintendo 64 or the GameCube that could now use that reel functionality with Nintendo's classics or what used to be Nintendo Switch Online. And how much do you think an accessory like this could cost? Considering most of it here will just be plastic and assembled together, I couldn't see it being more than maybe $20. I know there'll be a lot of dev costs that have to get recouped, as well as the cost of the assembly, which is probably all well more than the cost of the plastic there. Or let me know if you think that this is something that Nintendo is just going to sit on, that they just wanted to file this patent before anybody else did and then just do nothing with it, and we never see this come to fruition. Drop your comments below and let me know your thoughts. And if you liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, consider doing so. It really does help the channel out quite a bit. I want to thank you for watching, and be good.